How to Reclaim Your Power and Live Authentically Through Energy Work by Audible Insights. Introduction. There is an invisible current shaping your life, directing your thoughts, emotions, and actions in ways you may not fully understand. You can feel it in the moments when exhaustion settles deep in your bones, even when you've done nothing particularly draining. You sense it in the repeated patterns of struggle, self-doubt, and hesitation that seem to play out like an old, familiar song, no matter how much you try to change the melody. It is the force behind the disconnection you feel, the quiet knowing that something isn't quite right, though you can't seem to name it. This force is your energy. Not the kind measured in calories or productivity, but the unseen blueprint of your life, shaping everything from the way you experience your relationships to the way opportunities, or obstacles, seem to appear before you. The state of your energy is the state of your reality. Perhaps you've tried to make changes before. You've set goals, restructured habits, learned mindfulness techniques, or tried to think positively. And yet, no matter how much effort you pour into these strategies, something beneath the surface resists. Progress is slow, temporary, or collapses entirely when stress or doubt creeps back in. It's because the shifts you are making are only addressing the surface, while the deeper patterns remain intact. The truth is, you don't need to push harder. You don't need to discipline yourself into a version of success that feels exhausting. What you need is to reclaim the energy that has been subtly drained from you over time, by old wounds, unconscious patterns, emotional entanglements, and external influences that have shaped the way you experience yourself and the world. Imagine walking through a dimly lit room cluttered with objects you can barely see. You move carefully, stepping over obstacles, avoiding unseen edges, adjusting with each misstep. It's exhausting. But what if, instead of struggling to maneuver through the darkness, you simply turned on the light? Energy work is that light. It allows you to see clearly, to recognize what has been shaping your path, and to remove what no longer serves you, not through force, but through awareness. In the chapters ahead, you will learn how to reclaim the power that has been subtly slipping through your fingers. You will see where your energy is being drained and, more importantly, how to take it back. You will uncover the ways you have unknowingly carried the weight of the past, and how to release it without losing yourself. You will step beyond the surface-level solutions that leave you feeling momentarily better but never truly free, and instead, you will integrate practices that create a profound and lasting shift. This is not about learning a new technique to add to your already full plate. It is about unlearning the patterns that have kept you small, tired, and uncertain. It is about remembering who you are at your core, before the conditioning, before the doubt, before the world told you who you should be. If you've ever felt that quiet longing for something more, not just more success, more love, or more stability, but more of yourself, this is where it begins. Not in struggle, not in force, but in the simple, undeniable act of reclaiming your energy and stepping fully into your own power. The journey ahead is one of deep transformation, not just of mindset, but of being. You will not simply feel different, you will be different. And as you shift, so will the world around you. It is time to reclaim your power. It is time to live authentically. And it all begins with the energy that shapes your life. Chapter 1. The Hidden Drain. There are moments in life when exhaustion seeps into your bones, not just the kind that comes from a lack of sleep or a demanding schedule, but a deeper, more persistent fatigue. You wake up feeling depleted before the day even begins. Your motivation, once vibrant, now flickers like a dying flame. You try to push through, to summon willpower, to remind yourself of all the reasons you should feel grateful, accomplished, or at peace. And yet, something remains heavy, weighing you down in ways you can't quite explain. This is not just burnout. This is not just stress. This is energy loss. Most people live unaware of the subtle, continuous leaks in their energetic field. They wonder why no amount of rest seems to replenish them fully. They search for external reasons, perhaps a difficult job, a draining relationship, a lingering sadness that never quite leaves. While these factors certainly play a role, they are symptoms, not the root cause. The real culprit: unconscious energetic drains, patterns, attachments, and imprints that siphon your life force without your awareness. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every interaction, thought, and emotion has an energetic cost or return. Some experiences nourish you, filling your reserves effortlessly, like the warmth of the sun on your skin or a conversation that leaves you feeling seen. Others deplete you, a casual remark that lingers in your mind, a dynamic that leaves you second-guessing yourself, an unspoken tension that gnaws at your peace. Over time, these small withdrawals accumulate, leaving you running on empty. The problem is, most people don't even realize it's happening. Energy leaks are subtle. They are the small agreements we make without realizing, the way we suppress emotions to keep the peace, the way we contort ourselves to fit expectations, the way we carry wounds long after the moment of hurt has passed. These leaks don't just take from us, they shape us. They mold the way we show up in the world, keeping us trapped in cycles of depletion, self-doubt, and hesitation. The first step to reclaiming your energy is to see where it has been slipping away. This requires honesty. It requires a willingness to look beyond the obvious sources of stress and recognize the unseen forces at play. Start by paying attention to your energy in real time. Notice the moments when your body tenses, when your breath shortens, when a wave of exhaustion washes over you out of nowhere. These are signals. They are telling you something important. Your energy is responding before your mind can catch up. Now trace it back. What just happened? What thought crossed your mind? Who were you interacting with? What expectation, belief, or fear just surfaced? The key is not just identifying the drain, but understanding its source. For some, energy leaks come from unresolved emotions, grief, anger, or shame that was never fully processed, quietly depleting them beneath the surface. For others, it is the weight of unspoken obligations, the pressure to be everything for everyone, the fear of disappointing others. And for many, it is the silent conditioning they have absorbed over time, the belief that they must always be productive to be worthy, that they must earn love through sacrifice, that they must dim their light to make others comfortable. These drains are not always loud. Often, they are woven so seamlessly into daily life that they feel normal. But normal does not mean natural. Just because you have carried something for a long time does not mean you are meant to. To shift this, you must make a new agreement, one that says your energy is yours to protect, yours to cultivate, yours to direct with intention. This means becoming aware of what no longer serves you, what no longer aligns, what no longer deserves access to your life force. Start small. Choose one aspect of your life where you feel consistently drained. Ask yourself, what am I tolerating that depletes me? What expectation, belief, or dynamic have I accepted as unchangeable? What would happen if I allowed myself to let go? Letting go is not always about drastic action. Sometimes, it is simply a shift in awareness, a decision to stop feeding energy into what does not return it. It is recognizing that you do not owe your life force to patterns that diminish you. Reclaiming your energy is not about shielding yourself from the world. It is about refining what you allow into your space. It is about choosing, moment by moment, to align with what fuels you rather than what drains you. And as you do, you will begin to feel something shift. The exhaustion that once felt permanent will start to lift. The weight you carried without question will begin to lighten. And for the first time in a long time, you will feel what it means to truly belong to yourself again. Chapter 2. Energetic Ownership. There is a moment when you realize that your life, as it exists right now, is a reflection of your energy. Every experience, every challenge, every relationship, each one carries the imprint of your internal state. It's a difficult truth to accept at first. The idea that you are not just reacting to life but actively shaping it, whether you realize it or not, can feel overwhelming. But within this realization lies your greatest power. Most people move through life believing that circumstances dictate their energy. They feel drained because work is stressful. They feel unfulfilled because their relationships lack depth. They feel stuck because they haven't found the right opportunity. They wait for external conditions to change, believing that once they do, everything will finally fall into place. But the truth is, it works in reverse. Your energy does not simply respond to your reality, it creates it. This is where ownership comes in. Not blame, not shame, ownership. Ownership means recognizing that while you may not have control over everything that happens, you do have control over how you engage with it, how you direct your energy, and how you shape your experience. It means shifting from being a passive recipient of life to an active participant. It means no longer outsourcing your power. The moment you take full responsibility for your energy, everything changes. The dynamics that once drained you lose their grip. The emotional patterns that kept you stuck begin to unravel. The frustration of waiting for something outside of you to change disappears, because you realize the change begins within you. So how do you reclaim this ownership? First, you must recognize where you have been giving your power away. This can be subtle. It happens every time you allow someone else's emotions to dictate your own. Every time you hold yourself back to avoid discomfort. Every time you believe the voice in your head that says you are powerless. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life do you feel most drained? What situations or relationships consistently leave you feeling small, exhausted, or unseen? These are often the places where you have unconsciously handed over your energy, not because you are weak, but because you have been conditioned to believe you must. The shift begins with a decision, one that says, "My energy is mine to command." This is not about control in the traditional sense. It is not about forcing outcomes or resisting life. It is about standing fully in your own frequency, no longer swayed by external forces that do not serve you. One way to embody this shift is through energetic awareness. Throughout your day, pause and check in with yourself. Ask, where is my energy right now? Am I centered within myself, or am I caught up in something external? Am I reacting, or am I choosing? The simple act of noticing is powerful. It disrupts autopilot patterns and reminds you that you have a choice. Another step in this process is energetic boundaries. Not the kind defined by words or rules, but the kind that exist as a natural extension of your presence. True energetic boundaries are not about keeping things out. They are about strengthening your own field so that what is not yours no longer sticks. To cultivate this, start by grounding into your own energy. Imagine yourself surrounded by your own presence, fully intact, fully yours. Breathe into it. Feel what it's like to exist without leaking energy, without overextending, without seeking external validation. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you will find that the things that once triggered you, drained you, or pulled you off center no longer have the same effect. Owning your energy is a process. It requires awareness, commitment, and a willingness to shift old patterns. But as you do, you will begin to notice something profound. Life stops feeling like something that happens to you. Instead, it begins to feel like something you are actively creating, moment by moment, choice by choice. And in that space, true power is found. Chapter 3. Clearing the static. There's a reason clarity feels so rare. Most people live in a constant state of energetic noise, an invisible static that distorts intuition. clouds decision-making and keeps them feeling disconnected from themselves. It's why you second-guess your choices. It's why you replay conversations in your head, wondering what you should have said. It's why, even in moments of stillness, your mind remains restless, searching for answers but only finding more confusion. This static isn't just mental, it's energetic. Every interaction, every environment, every unresolved emotion leaves an imprint in your field. Over time, these imprints accumulate, creating interference. Think of it like an old radio struggling to find a clear signal. The station is there, your intuition, your inner knowing, your truth, but it's buried beneath layers of distortion. The more static you carry, the harder it is to hear yourself. Most people assume clarity comes from thinking harder, analyzing more, seeking more external guidance. But real clarity is not found in effort. It is found in stillness. And to access that stillness, you must first clear the static. The first step is identifying what is clouding your energy. Start paying attention to how you feel after different interactions, environments, and even thoughts. When do you feel drained? When do you feel anxious or ungrounded? What patterns keep looping in your mind? These are signs of interference, places where your energy is tangled with something that does not belong to you. One of the biggest sources of static is unprocessed emotion. When emotions are not fully felt, they do not disappear. They linger. They take up space in your energy field, creating background noise that influences your decisions without you realizing it. The mind may forget, but the energy remembers. To begin clearing this, you must allow yourself to feel. Not analyze, not justify, feel. The next time you notice emotional resistance, whether it's fear, sadness, or anger, pause. Instead of suppressing it or explaining it away, give it space. Breathe into it. Let it exist without needing to fix it. Emotions that are fully acknowledged no longer need to linger. Another major source of energetic static is external influence. The opinions, expectations, and projections of others can weave into your energy, making it difficult to distinguish your own truth from the noise. This is why you might find yourself hesitating, questioning what you really want, or feeling a sense of obligation that has no clear source. To begin untangling from this, practice returning to your own frequency. Throughout the day, ask yourself, is this mine? Is this thought, this fear, this expectation something I truly believe? Or is it something I have absorbed? The more you ask, the more you will recognize what belongs to you and what does not. Physical environments also hold energetic residue. Spaces filled with tension, clutter, or unspoken emotions create heaviness that seeps into your field. This is why some places feel draining even when nothing obvious is wrong. A simple way to reset is through movement. Open windows, burn incense, play music that shifts the energy. Your environment is an extension of your field. When it is stagnant, so are you. But perhaps the most important way to clear the static is through presence. The mind creates noise when it is scattered between past regrets and future worries. But the present moment is always clear. When you bring your full awareness into the now, whether through breath, sensation, or observation, the static naturally begins to dissolve. At first, the mind will resist. It will try to pull you back into loops of analysis, distraction, or mental noise. This is normal. Do not fight it. Simply return again and again to the simple awareness of now. As you practice clearing your field, you will begin to notice something profound. The confusion that once felt like an unsolvable puzzle will start to lift. The decisions that once felt impossible will become effortless. The voice of your intuition, once buried beneath layers of interference, will emerge with unmistakable clarity. This is not because you have gained something new. It is because you have finally removed what was never yours to carry. And in that space, your true energy can finally be heard. Chapter 4. The Body Speaks. Your body has been speaking to you for years. Every ache, every tension, every sudden wave of fatigue, these are not just physical experiences. They are messages. Your body is not separate from your energy. It is the most direct reflection of it. And yet, most people ignore these signals, dismissing them as random discomforts or minor inconveniences. Think about the times you have felt heavy, drained, or tight in your chest without knowing why, or the moments when exhaustion hits despite getting enough sleep. These sensations are not just physiological responses. They are your body's way of communicating what your mind has been conditioned to ignore. The body carries the stories you haven't fully processed. It holds on to old emotions, suppressed truths, and past experiences that were never fully released. When energy stagnates in the body, it manifests as physical sensations, tension in the shoulders from years of carrying unspoken burdens, a tight throat from words never spoken, a stomach that clenches with anxiety you've learned to suppress. Most people attempt to solve these discomforts by treating the symptoms, stretching, deep breathing, taking supplements. While these can help, they do not address the deeper energetic imbalances that created the discomfort in the first place. To truly clear what is being held, you must learn to listen. The first step is awareness. Instead of immediately trying to get rid of a sensation, pause and tune in. Ask, what is my body trying to tell me? Where am I holding tension right now? What emotion might be stored here? The simple act of bringing attention to your body's messages begins to unlock what has been trapped. Next, practice breathing into the places that feel tight or blocked. Imagine your breath as a warm current of energy flowing directly into those areas, softening them, creating space. Do not try to force the discomfort away. Simply allow it to exist, knowing that attention itself is the beginning of release. Movement is another key to energetic release. When emotions or experiences are not fully processed, they become stuck in the body. This is why shaking, stretching, or even walking can help shift stagnant energy. Notice how different movements affect you. Do certain postures or gestures make you feel more open, more centered? This is not just physical, it is energetic alignment in action. Beyond physical sensations, the body also communicates through intuition. A gut feeling that warns you, a chill that signals truth, an instinctive pull toward or away from something. These are not coincidences. They are your body's way of guiding you before your mind has a chance to overthink. But to trust these signals, you must first stop dismissing them. Throughout your day, practice checking in with your body. Before making a decision, pause and feel. Does this bring expansion or contraction, lightness or heaviness, ease or resistance? Your body knows. The more you listen, the clearer these signals become. Many people search outside themselves for answers, hoping someone else will tell them what is right for them. But the truth has always been within you. Your body holds it. Your energy reveals it. It has never stopped speaking. You only need to start listening. As you deepen this awareness, you will begin to experience something powerful, a sense of alignment that does not require external validation, a connection to yourself that is undeniable, a trust in your own knowing that cannot be shaken. Your body is not just a vessel, it is a guide. And when you learn to hear it, you will never again question the path you are meant to walk. Chapter 5. The Truth Beneath Fear. Fear has been with you for a long time. It shows up in the hesitation before you speak your truth, in the resistance that keeps you from taking the leap, in the quiet voice that whispers, "What if you fail?" Fear is woven into the fabric of human experience, shaping choices, limiting possibilities, and keeping you safely within the familiar. But fear is not the enemy. Most people spend their lives trying to eliminate fear, believing that only when it is gone will they finally feel free. They push it down, override it with logic, or try to silence it with distraction. But the truth is, fear does not need to be conquered. It needs to be understood. Because beneath every fear is a deeper truth waiting to be revealed. Fear is energy. It is not inherently negative or positive, it simply is. What determines its effect on your life is not its presence, but your relationship with it. Do you allow it to paralyze you? Do you let it shape your decisions? Or do you meet it with curiosity, seeing it for what it truly is? The first step in shifting your relationship with fear is to recognize that it is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to pay attention. Fear arises when you are standing at the edge of something unfamiliar, something that requires expansion. It is not a sign of weakness but of growth. Begin by identifying what your fear is really about. Often, what we fear on the surface is not the true fear at all. It is a cover for something deeper. For example, the fear of failure is rarely about failure itself. It is about what failure represents. A fear of being judged is not about judgment. It is about the possibility of rejection, of being seen as unworthy. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? And then, what is beneath that? Keep going until you reach the core. What you will find is not something to avoid, but something to reclaim. Because on the other side of fear is always truth. Once you have identified the root, practice shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing fear as an obstacle, view it as an invitation. When fear arises, it means you are standing at the threshold of something important. Instead of resisting it, ask, what is this fear trying to show me? What part of myself am I being called to step into? Next, begin working with your fear as energy. When fear arises, notice where you feel it in your body. Does it tighten your chest? Does it make your stomach clench? Instead of trying to push it away, breathe into it. Imagine expanding around it, creating space for it to exist without letting it take over. Fear is not meant to be suppressed. It is meant to be integrated. Another way to transform fear is through action. Fear thrives in stagnation, in the endless cycle of what-ifs. The longer you stay in fear without movement, the stronger it becomes. The way through is not waiting until the fear disappears. It is acting despite it. Take one small step in the direction of what you fear, then another. Each step teaches your nervous system that fear is not the end of the road, but the beginning of something new. The more you do this, the more you will see fear for what it truly is, a doorway. Not a barrier, not a warning sign, but an opening to your next evolution. Fear arises where your greatest potential lies. It does not appear to stop you. It appears to show you exactly where you are meant to go. This is why the goal is not to live without fear, but to learn to walk with it, to hear its voice without letting it dictate your choices, to feel its presence without mistaking it for truth. Because when you stop letting fear define you, you step into something far greater, your own power, your own expansion, your own limitless potential. And in that space, fear no longer controls you. It becomes what it was always meant to be, a guide leading you toward the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 6. The Energy of Boundaries. There are moments in life when you feel unseen, unheard, or drained after an interaction. Moments when you walk away from a conversation feeling smaller than before. When you say yes to something while every part of you is screaming no. When you give more than you truly have to offer. These moments are not just emotional discomforts. They are signals that your energetic boundaries have been crossed. Most people think of boundaries as words, rules, or firm lines drawn between themselves and others. But true boundaries are not external. They are energetic. They are not something you set. They are something you embody. When your energy is strong and intact, people feel it. There is no need for long explanations, no need for guilt, no need for struggle. Your presence alone communicates what is and isn't acceptable. The problem is, many people struggle with boundaries because they approach them from a place of fear rather than energy. They believe they must defend themselves, that they must convince others to respect them. But the truth is, boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about mastering your own energy. The first step to creating strong, energetic boundaries is recognizing where your energy is leaking. Notice the people, places, or situations that leave you feeling depleted. What dynamics do you engage in that make you feel disconnected from yourself? Where do you find yourself over-explaining, over-giving, or feeling obligated? These are the areas where your energy is being given away without conscious choice. Once you have identified these leaks, begin reclaiming your space, internally first, before anything external changes. This begins with a simple but powerful shift. You do not need permission to protect your energy. Many people struggle with boundaries because they have been conditioned to believe that they must justify their needs, that they must make others comfortable with their choices. But your energy is yours. You do not owe it to anyone. One of the most effective ways to reinforce your energetic boundaries is through awareness. Before entering any interaction, take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask, what energy am I bringing into this space? What energy am I willing to receive? Setting an energetic intention before engaging with others helps maintain clarity, preventing entanglements that leave you feeling drained. Another key to strengthening boundaries is grounding into your own presence. Many people lose energy in interactions because they are unconsciously reaching outward, seeking approval, validation, or emotional safety from others. Instead, practice bringing your awareness back to yourself. Imagine your energy as a contained sovereign force. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more solid, more present. The more rooted you are in yourself, the less external energies can infiltrate. For moments when you feel your boundaries being tested, remember this: silence is powerful. Many people over-explain their decisions, hoping to be understood. But true energetic boundaries do not require explanation. You do not need to justify saying no. You do not need to convince someone to respect your limits. A simple, firm response, delivered without guilt or apology, carries far more strength than a long-winded defense. The more you integrate these practices, the more you will notice a shift, not just in how others respond to you, but in how you feel within yourself. You will find that interactions that once felt draining no longer affect you in the same way. You will notice that people naturally adjust to the energy you embody, without you needing to fight for your space. And most importantly, you will feel a deep, unshakable connection to yourself, a knowing that your energy is yours to direct, yours to protect, and yours to honor always. Because boundaries are not about keeping people out. They are about keeping yourself intact. And when you master your energy, the world learns to respect it without you having to demand it. Chapter 7. Unraveling emotional attachments. There are parts of you still holding on, attachments to people, experiences, and versions of yourself that no longer exist. You feel it in the quiet moments when old memories resurface, when certain names still bring a tightening in your chest, when you catch yourself playing out the same emotional patterns over and over again. These attachments are not just in your mind. They are energetic threads, connecting you to the past in ways you may not fully realize. Emotional attachments form whenever you invest energy into something, whether it's a relationship, an idea, or even a self-image. These connections are not inherently bad. Some bring nourishment, expansion, and deep connection, but others keep you bound to experiences that no longer serve you. They anchor you in pain, regret, or longing, making it difficult to move forward. Many people struggle with letting go because they misunderstand what it truly means. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean erasing your past or pretending that certain experiences never happened. Letting go is about reclaiming the energy that has been left behind, untangling yourself from the weight of what was, so you can fully inhabit what is. The first step in releasing emotional attachments is recognizing where your energy is still entangled. Pay attention to the moments when your emotional state shifts unexpectedly. What triggers sadness, resentment, or longing? Which memories still hold an emotional charge? Which people or situations do you find yourself thinking about, even when you don't want to? These are signs that part of your energy is still invested in something outside of the present moment. Once you've identified these attachments, the next step is to acknowledge them, not push them away. Many people try to force themselves to move on by suppressing emotions, believing that if they ignore the attachment long enough, it will disappear. But unprocessed emotions do not dissolve. They linger beneath the surface, shaping your thoughts, reactions, and beliefs. The only way to truly release them is to meet them with awareness. Sit with the emotions that arise. Instead of resisting them, ask, what am I still holding on to? What part of me feels incomplete without this? What lesson is hidden within this attachment? Often, what keeps us tethered to the past is not the experience itself, but the meaning we have assigned to it. Perhaps a relationship ending made you feel unworthy. Perhaps an opportunity lost made you feel like you failed. The attachment is not just to the person or event. It is to the part of yourself that felt abandoned in the process. This is where the true work begins. It is not about letting go of the person, the memory, or the experience. It is about retrieving the part of yourself that was left behind. One way to begin this process is through visualization. Close your eyes and bring to mind the attachment you wish to release. Instead of focusing on the external situation, focus on your own energy. Imagine gently pulling back the pieces of yourself that were left behind, your love, your confidence, your hope, your power. See them returning to you, reintegrating into your being. Feel yourself becoming whole again. Another powerful practice is cutting energetic cords. Every significant connection in your life forms an energetic link. Some cords nourish you, but others deplete you, especially when they are tied to unresolved emotions. To release these, visualize the energetic connection between you and what you are letting go of. See it clearly and then, with full intention, imagine cutting the cord. Not with anger, not with resistance, but with gratitude for what was and acceptance of what is. Letting go is not an act of rejection. It is an act of reclamation. It is choosing to call your energy back from where it has been scattered, choosing to free yourself from patterns that no longer align. As you practice this, you will begin to notice a shift. The weight that once felt immovable will start to lift. The memories that once triggered deep emotion will soften. The longing that once held you in place will fade, not because you forced it to, but because you no longer need it to define you. Because the truth is, you are not meant to be bound to the past. You are meant to move forward, fully present, fully whole. And every piece of yourself that you reclaim brings you one step closer to living in the freedom that has always been yours. Chapter 8. Reclaiming your voice. There have been moments when you swallowed your words, when you bit your tongue instead of speaking your truth. Times when you agreed to something you didn't want, simply because it was easier than explaining why. Times when you stayed silent, not because you had nothing to say, but because you weren't sure if your voice would be heard, or worse, if it would be rejected. These moments are not just fleeting discomforts. They are small fractures in your energy, each one dimming the power of your authentic expression. Over time, this suppression accumulates. Your voice weakens, not because you lack the ability to speak, but because you have trained yourself to hold back. But your voice is more than just words. It is energy. It is the frequency through which your truth moves into the world. When you suppress it, you are not just avoiding conflict, you are cutting off your own power. Reclaiming your voice is about more than just speaking louder. It is about realigning with your truth so fully that your energy carries your words effortlessly, without force, without fear. It is about allowing yourself to be fully seen and heard, not just by others, but by yourself. The first step is recognizing where and why you have silenced yourself. Look back on your life and notice the patterns. When did you first learn that your voice was too much, too inconvenient, too risky? Was it through criticism, rejection, or being ignored? Did you learn that staying quiet kept you safe? That pleasing others was easier than expressing what you really wanted? These patterns are not random. They are energetic imprints formed by experiences that taught you, consciously or unconsciously, that your truth was not welcome. The good news is, what was learned can be unlearned. To begin this process, start by reconnecting with your voice, not just verbally but energetically. Place a hand on your throat and take a deep breath. Feel the tension there, the weight of all the words left unsaid. Breathe into that space. Imagine clearing out everything that has been suppressed, everything that has kept you from fully expressing yourself. Next, practice speaking, not just to others but to yourself. Say your thoughts out loud. Affirm your own truth in the mirror. Read something aloud and pay attention to how your voice sounds. Is it hesitant, rushed, barely above a whisper? Or does it carry strength, depth, certainty? The more you hear your own voice, the more you begin to reclaim it. But words alone are not enough. Reclaiming your voice also means aligning your actions with your truth. Every time you suppress what you want, you reinforce the belief that your voice doesn't matter. The next time you feel the impulse to stay silent when you want to speak, pause. Ask yourself, am I choosing silence or am I defaulting to it? If it's the latter, take the risk, speak, even if your voice shakes. Another powerful way to strengthen your voice is by releasing the fear of how others will receive it. Many people hold back not because they don't know what they want to say, but because they fear the consequences, rejection, misunderstanding, discomfort. But the purpose of your voice is not to control how others respond. It is to express your truth, fully and unapologetically. When you begin to reclaim your voice, you may notice resistance, old fears rising, doubts creeping in. This is normal. You are disrupting long-standing patterns. But with every word spoken from your truth, the resistance weakens. And then one day, you will notice the shift. You will no longer hesitate before saying what you mean. You will no longer filter your truth to make others comfortable. You will no longer need permission to speak, because your voice is not just sound. It is the embodiment of your power, and when you reclaim it, you reclaim yourself. Chapter 9. The power of presence. There is a constant pull in the modern world, a force dragging your attention in every direction except the one that matters most, this moment. You feel it in the endless distractions, the racing thoughts, the habit of reaching for your phone before you've even realized why. You sense it in the way your mind jumps between the past and future, replaying old conversations, planning for what hasn't yet happened, never quite settling into the now. This scattered energy is not just mental, it is energetic. When your awareness is fragmented, so is your power. Presence is not just about mindfulness, it is about energetic alignment. It is the ability to fully inhabit your body, your emotions, and your awareness in real time, without being pulled into mental loops of regret, worry, or distraction. Most people believe they struggle with presence because they have too much to think about, too many responsibilities, too many things demanding their attention. But the truth is, presence is not something you achieve, it is something you return to. It is your natural state, beneath the noise, beneath the conditioning, beneath the habits of disconnection. The first step to reclaiming presence is recognizing when you have left it. Notice the moments when your mind pulls you elsewhere. When you are eating but not tasting, listening but not hearing, breathing but not feeling. These are not just signs of distraction, they are signs of energetic disconnection. When you become aware of this, pause, take a slow breath, bring your attention back into your body. Feel your feet on the ground, your hands resting where they are, the air moving in and out of your lungs. The moment you do this, you reclaim your presence. You step out of the mental noise and back into yourself. Another way to cultivate presence is by slowing down your movements. Rushing is a symptom of scattered energy. When you move quickly, your awareness struggles to keep up, and your energy becomes fragmented. Practice moving with intention, placing an object down gently instead of tossing it, sipping your drink slowly instead of gulping it, breathing fully instead of shallowly. These small shifts anchor you into the present moment, but the most powerful practice for deepening presence is choosing it. In every interaction, in every experience, you have the choice to be fully there or partially absent. The more often you make the conscious decision to be fully in the moment, whether in conversation, in solitude, or in the simplest daily task, the more natural presence becomes. When you embody presence, everything changes. Conversations become deeper because you are truly listening. Decisions become clearer because they are made from alignment rather than distraction. Life becomes richer, not because anything external has changed, but because you are fully experiencing it. Presence is not about trying harder. It is about remembering that you are already here. And when you bring your full energy into the now, you access a level of clarity, power, and ease that cannot be found anywhere else. Chapter 10. Energetic alignment. There is a difference between chasing something and aligning with it. Most people spend their lives in pursuit of success, love, happiness, freedom, always reaching, always striving, believing that once they get there, they will finally feel at peace. But no matter how much effort they put in, something always feels just out of reach. The truth is, life is not shaped by how hard you try. It is shaped by your energy. When your energy is in alignment, things flow effortlessly. When it is out of alignment, everything feels like resistance. You can be doing all the right things, taking all the right actions, but if your energy is not aligned with what you desire, it will always feel like an uphill battle. Alignment is not about forcing yourself to be positive. It is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. Alignment is about being in energetic resonance with what you want, becoming a vibrational match for the life you are meant to live. The first step in shifting into alignment is recognizing where you are forcing instead of flowing. Pay attention to the areas of your life that feel heavy, frustrating, or stagnant. These are signs of misalignment. They do not mean you need to push harder. They mean you need to shift your energy. Ask yourself, am I acting from alignment or from fear? Am I making choices from trust or from desperation? Am I in sync with what I truly want, or am I settling for what I think I should have? Often, misalignment comes from living according to external expectations rather than inner truth. You may be pursuing goals that are not truly yours, holding on to relationships that no longer fit, or forcing yourself into paths that drain you rather than inspire you. The moment you acknowledge this, you create space for realignment. One of the simplest yet most profound ways to shift into alignment is through feeling. Instead of focusing on external outcomes, tune into the energy of what you desire. If you want love, embody the energy of love now. If you want freedom, cultivate a sense of freedom in your daily life. If you want abundance, practice gratitude for what you already have. Your energy creates your reality. When you shift your internal state, your external world follows. Another key to alignment is listening to your body. Your body knows when something is right for you. When you are in alignment, there is a sense of ease, expansion, and flow. When you are out of alignment, there is tension, resistance, and exhaustion. Stop ignoring these signals. Let your body guide you toward what is meant for you. The final piece of alignment is trust. Trust that when something is meant for you, it does not require force. Trust that letting go of what no longer fits creates space for what does. Trust that when you operate from a place of alignment, life moves with you, not against you. Because alignment is not something you achieve, it is something you allow. The more you trust, the more you receive. And when you live from this place, you no longer chase, you attract. You no longer struggle, you flow. You no longer wait for life to give you what you want. You embody it and life rises to meet you. Chapter 11. The unseen power of intention. Intention is one of the most overlooked forces shaping your reality. It is not just a wish, a goal, or a fleeting thought. Intention is energy in motion. It directs the unseen forces around you, influencing the way life responds to you, even when you are not consciously aware of it. Most people move through life without setting clear intentions. They react rather than create. They hope for change but do not direct their energy toward it. They wait for clarity instead of deciding what they truly want. And in this state of passivity, their energy becomes scattered, diluted, unfocused. But when you set a true intention, one that is clear, deliberate, and aligned, you shift the entire energetic field around you. You are no longer passively experiencing life, you are shaping it. The first step in mastering intention is understanding the difference between a wish and a decision. A wish is passive. It says, "I hope this happens." A decision is active. It says, "This is happening." Intention is not about asking, it is about claiming. It is a declaration to the universe and to yourself that you are aligning with a specific path, experience, or outcome. To strengthen your intention, begin by getting clear on what you truly want, not what you think you should want, not what others expect of you, but what resonates deeply with your soul. Ask yourself, if nothing stood in my way, what would I choose? Your true desires are not random. They are signals guiding you toward your highest path. Once you have clarity, speak your intention out loud. Writing it down is powerful, but voicing it carries an even stronger frequency. Your words are an extension of your energy. When spoken with conviction, they reinforce the reality you are creating. But intention alone is not enough. It must be backed by alignment. This means embodying the energy of your intention now, before the external proof arrives. If your intention is to experience love, cultivate that love within yourself first. If your intention is success, carry yourself as though success is already yours. Energy does not wait for external confirmation. It moves based on your internal state. Another key element of intention is consistency. Setting an intention once is powerful, but sustaining that energy over time is what brings results. Many people sabotage their own manifestations by doubting, second-guessing, or shifting their energy toward fear instead of trust. The moment you set an intention, life begins responding. Your role is to hold that frequency, to remain aligned even when external circumstances have not yet caught up. And finally, trust the process. Intention is not about controlling how something unfolds. It is about aligning with the energy of it and allowing life to meet you in unexpected ways. The more you release attachment to how your desires manifest, the more open you are to receiving them in forms greater than you imagined. Because when you move with clear, unwavering intention, life does not hesitate. It moves with you. And what once felt distant, uncertain, or impossible becomes inevitable. We sat in silence, not the comfortable kind, not the kind we used to fall into after long days when words weren't needed, just the weight of each other's presence enough to fill the space. No, this was different. This was silence stretched tight, a thread pulled too thin, both of us afraid to be the first to pull. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like it held all the answers. I watched him, waiting, searching his face for something, anything, that might tell me what he was thinking. But he didn't give me much. I wanted to ask where he had gone, if he had just walked aimlessly through the city, if he had sat in his car somewhere, staring at the steering wheel, wondering what to do next. I wanted to ask if he had considered not coming back, if he had looked at his phone and thought about sending a message saying he wasn't coming home at all. But I didn't ask, because I wasn't sure I wanted to hear the answer. Instead, I finally said, "I thought you weren't coming back." He let out a slow breath, nodding slightly but didn't look at me. I didn't think I was. The admission cut through me, sharp and clean, like a blade slipping between ribs. I didn't flinch, but I felt it. I swallowed. So why did you? His hands clasped together, fingers curling tightly like he was steadying himself. Because I wasn't sure if I'd regret it. My stomach twisted. I could work with that, right? Unsure was better than certain. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I don't know how to fix this. He finally turned his head, meeting my gaze, and there was something in his expression I hadn't seen before. Not anger, not hurt, just quiet exhaustion. Neither do I, he said. I held his stare, my throat tight. Do you want to? The question hung between us, thick with meaning. For a long time he didn't answer. I braced myself for the worst, and then finally, I think so. It wasn't a yes, it wasn't what I wanted, but it wasn't a no. I nodded, pressing my palms against my thighs, my pulse erratic. Okay. Another silence settled, but this one felt different. Less fragile. He rubbed a hand over his face, then leaned back against the couch, exhaling heavily. I don't know where to start. I studied him, then said quietly, maybe we don't. Maybe we just sit with it for a while. His gaze flicked to mine, uncertain. I offered a small, hesitant shrug. We've spent so much time trying to outrun the cracks, trying to pretend we weren't already falling apart. Maybe we just stop pretending. His throat bobbed as he swallowed. He didn't respond right away, but eventually I saw it, the slight drop of his shoulders, the weight shifting. And then, almost imperceptibly, he nodded. I let out a breath and leaned back too, our shoulders still inches apart. For now, for this moment, it was enough. Chapter 12. Breaking the Cycles. There are patterns in your life that repeat like an old song, familiar, predictable, looping again and again, even when you try to change. You recognize them in your relationships, in your struggles, in the moments when you tell yourself, I thought I was past this. No matter how much effort you put into moving forward, something keeps pulling you back into the same experiences, the same lessons, the same energy. These patterns are not random. They are energetic cycles. An energetic cycle is not just a habit. It is an imprint, a frequency that continues to play out because it has not yet been disrupted at its core. You may have tried to change your thoughts, your behaviors, or even your external circumstances, but if the root energy remains the same, the pattern will simply recreate itself in a new form. Breaking a cycle requires more than just effort. It requires energetic awareness. The first step in shifting a repeating pattern is recognizing its deeper origin. Many cycles are inherited. They come from childhood conditioning, family wounds, past relationships, or even ancestral energy passed down through generations. Others are self-created, formed from past experiences that shaped your beliefs about yourself and the world. To identify where your cycles are coming from, ask yourself, where in my life do I feel stuck? What patterns keep repeating despite my efforts to change? What belief about myself is being reinforced by this experience? Once you have identified the cycle, the next step is shifting the energy behind it. This begins with a fundamental realization. The cycle is not happening to you, it is happening for you. It is not here to trap you. It is here to reveal something that has been hidden. Every repeating experience is an opportunity to see the underlying energy more clearly, to face what has been unaddressed, and to make a new choice. One of the most powerful ways to disrupt a cycle is by changing your response. The pattern continues because you react in the same way each time, whether that reaction is emotional, mental, or behavioral. The moment you shift your response, you alter the energy of the cycle. For example, if you continually attract relationships where you feel unseen, your usual response might be to try harder to prove your worth. But what if, instead, you chose to walk away, to no longer engage with energy that does not meet you at your level? That single shift signals to the universe that you are no longer available for that pattern, and the cycle begins to dissolve. Another way to break a cycle is by working with your body. Repeating patterns are not just mental. They are stored in the nervous system, in the muscles, in the way you carry yourself. When you find yourself caught in a familiar emotional loop, notice how your body responds. Do your shoulders tense? Does your breath become shallow? By consciously shifting your physical state, through breath, movement, or relaxation, you send a message to your entire system that this moment does not have to follow the old script. And finally, release the identity tied to the pattern. Many people stay trapped in cycles because, on some level, they have internalized the struggle as part of who they are. If you see yourself as someone who always gets hurt, never gets ahead, or can't change, that identity becomes self-reinforcing. The most powerful shift you can make is to decide, that is no longer my story. Breaking a cycle is not about fighting against it. It is about seeing it clearly, understanding its lesson, and choosing differently. The moment you do, the energy begins to shift. And what once felt like an unbreakable loop becomes the turning point in your transformation, because you are not meant to relive the past. You are meant to evolve beyond it. And every cycle you break brings you closer to the version of yourself who is truly free. Chapter 13. The alchemy of emotion. Emotions are energy in motion. They are not just feelings, they are frequencies moving through you, shaping your experiences, your perceptions, and your reality. Yet, most people have been taught to fear their emotions, to suppress them, to categorize them as good or bad, to believe that some are acceptable while others must be controlled. But emotions are not problems to be solved. They are messages to be understood. When you suppress emotion, you do not make it disappear. You store it. It lingers in your body, in your energy field, waiting for an outlet. Over time, these unprocessed emotions accumulate, creating blockages, tension, and patterns of reactivity. You wonder why certain situations trigger you so deeply, why the same feelings resurface no matter how much time has passed. The reason is simple. What has not been felt cannot be released. Emotional alchemy is the process of transforming raw emotion into power. It is not about avoiding pain, nor is it about drowning in it. It is about learning how to work with emotion as energy, understanding its purpose, moving it through your body, and allowing it to integrate in a way that serves you rather than controls you. The first step in emotional alchemy is presence. Instead of reacting to an emotion or attempting to analyze it, simply feel it. When a wave of sadness, anger, or fear arises, do not distract yourself or push it down. Pause, breathe. Notice where you feel it in your body. Give it space to exist. The simple act of allowing an emotion to be present begins to shift its energy. Next, separate the feeling from the story. Most people experience emotions as part of a mental narrative. I feel rejected because I'm not good enough. I feel angry because they don't respect me. I feel anxious because something is going to go wrong. The story keeps the emotion trapped. Instead of engaging with the thoughts, focus on the raw sensation. Where is it in your body? Is it heavy, sharp, warm, tight? By bringing your awareness to the physical experience rather than the mental interpretation, you begin to move the emotion rather than keeping it stuck. Another way to transmute emotion is through movement. Emotions are meant to flow. When they become stagnant, they manifest as tension, fatigue, or heaviness. If you feel anger, let your body release it, shake, stomp, punch a pillow. If you feel sadness, let it move through you. Cry, breathe deeply, stretch your body open. The goal is not to get rid of the emotion, but to let it complete its cycle. Sound is another powerful tool. Humming, sighing, or even making intentional sounds help to shift emotional energy that has been stored in the throat, chest, or solar plexus. Many people suppress their emotions in silence. Breaking that silence through sound allows the energy to release. And finally, ask the emotion what it has to teach you. Every emotion carries wisdom. Fear shows you where you are ready to grow. Anger reveals where your boundaries have been crossed. Sadness allows you to soften, to heal. When you stop resisting emotion and instead engage with it as an ally, it transforms. Most people seek happiness by trying to eliminate difficult emotions. But true emotional mastery is not about getting rid of sadness, fear, or anger. It is about knowing how to work with them. When you learn to feel without fear, to allow without resistance, emotions stop controlling you. And in that space, you access something far greater than happiness. You access freedom. The freedom to experience all of life without being ruled by it. The freedom to feel deeply without losing yourself. The freedom to transmute any emotion into wisdom, strength, and power. Because when you no longer fear your emotions, they become the very thing that sets you free. Chapter 14. Authenticity as energy. Authenticity is not an act. It is not about how you present yourself to the world or how you craft an identity that feels true. Authenticity is an energetic frequency. It is the vibration of full alignment, when your thoughts, emotions, actions, and presence are in sync with who you truly are. Most people do not live authentically, not because they don't want to, but because they have been conditioned to abandon themselves. They have learned to filter their truth, to adjust their energy to fit expectations, to play roles that feel safer than full expression. Over time, this misalignment becomes normal. They forget what it feels like to be themselves without hesitation, without overthinking, without dilution. But deep inside, authenticity is always calling. You feel it in the moments when you drop the mask, when you speak without fear, when you laugh without censoring yourself, when you exist without needing to perform. These moments feel expansive, effortless, because they are aligned. They are your true energy in motion. The first step to reclaiming authenticity is recognizing where you have disconnected from it. Pay attention to the moments when you feel drained, restricted, or out of place. Ask yourself, where am I performing instead of being? Where am I filtering my truth to make others comfortable? What parts of myself have I hidden because I feared they wouldn't be accepted? Many people mistake authenticity for rebellion. They believe being true to themselves means being loud, disruptive, or forcing others to accept them. But real authenticity is not about fighting, it is about being. When you are fully yourself, there is no need to prove, defend, or seek validation. Your energy speaks for itself. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to reconnect with authenticity is to notice when your energy expands or contracts. When you are being true to yourself, your body feels lighter, your breath flows easier, your thoughts are clear. When you are suppressing yourself, there is tension, hesitation, and a sense of constriction. The more you tune into this, the more you will recognize what aligns with your true self and what does not. Another practice is speaking from your inner voice rather than your conditioned voice. The conditioned voice speaks in limitations. I shouldn't say that, they won't like it. This isn't who I'm supposed to be. The inner voice speaks in clarity, this feels right. This is who I am. This is my truth. The more you honor this voice, the stronger it becomes. Authenticity also requires letting go of attachment to approval. Many people betray themselves in small, subtle ways to avoid discomfort, to keep relationships smooth, to fit into social expectations, to avoid conflict. But every time you trade authenticity for approval, you weaken your connection to yourself. The question is, whose approval matters more, others or your own? Living authentically is not about forcing yourself into a rigid identity. It is about allowing yourself to evolve, to change, to be fluid without fear. It is about trusting that who you are in this moment is enough, and that as you grow, your authenticity will grow with you. When you embody authenticity as an energy rather than just an idea, people feel it. They recognize something rare in you, someone who is whole within themselves, someone who is not seeking permission to exist as they are. And in that wholeness, you become magnetic. life aligns with you. The right people, the right opportunities, the right experiences naturally find you because you are no longer hiding your true frequency. Authenticity is not something you find. It is something you remember. It is the energy of who you were before the world told you who to be. And when you reclaim it, you step into a life that is not just lived, but fully, undeniably yours. Chapter 15. Living as an energetic creator. There is a shift that happens when you realize that you are not just moving through life, you are shaping it. Every thought, every emotion, every intention you hold is sending out a frequency, influencing what you attract, what you experience, and how the world responds to you. Most people believe life is something that happens to them. They react to circumstances, waiting for change, hoping for something better, feeling powerless when things don't go their way. But this is an illusion. You are never merely reacting, you are always creating. The question is not if you are creating, but how. Are you creating unconsciously, repeating old patterns, letting fear and doubt dictate your energy? Or are you creating with awareness, with intention, with a deep trust in your ability to shape your reality? To live as an energetic creator, you must first shift from victimhood to ownership. This does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has happened. It means recognizing that your energy influences everything that will happen next. It is the decision to take responsibility for your vibration, to consciously choose how you want to show up, regardless of external conditions. Start by becoming aware of your dominant energy. Throughout the day, pause and ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Am I in a state of trust or fear? Am I focused on possibilities or limitations? Am I open or resistant? Your external reality is always a reflection of your internal state. The more you shift your energy, the more life shifts with you. Another key to conscious creation is learning to embody what you desire before it arrives. Most people wait for evidence before they believe something is possible. But energy does not work that way. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you desire abundance, embody the energy of abundance now. If you seek love, move through the world as someone who is already deeply loved. If you desire peace, cultivate stillness within yourself first. Creation also requires release. Many people block their manifestations because they are energetically holding on to fear, doubt, or past experiences that contradict what they desire. To create something new, you must be willing to let go of the old. This means releasing limiting beliefs, surrendering control, and trusting that the universe is always working with you, not against you. Most importantly, true energetic creation is about alignment, not force. You do not have to push, chase, or struggle to make things happen. The more you align your energy, the more effortlessly things flow to you. The right people, opportunities, and experiences naturally appear, not because you forced them, but because you became the energetic match for them. This is the essence of living as an energetic creator, knowing that you are always shaping your reality, knowing that your energy is your most powerful tool, knowing that life is not something you wait for, it is something you create, moment by moment, choice by choice, vibration by vibration. And when you live from this place, everything changes, not because the world has shifted, but because you have. And when you shift, the universe has no choice but to reflect that shift back to you, because that is how energy works. That is how creation works. And that is how you reclaim your power, not just once, but in every moment for the rest of your life. Closing chapter, the return to power. There is a moment in every transformation when you realize you are no longer the person you were when this journey began. Something has shifted. Not just in your thoughts, not just in your emotions, but in your energy. The way you move through the world is different. The way you see yourself is different. This is not the result of learning a new technique. It is not because you have followed a step-by-step process or adopted a new mindset. It is because you have remembered something that was always true. Your power was never lost. It was simply waiting to be reclaimed. You have spent years unknowingly leaking energy, holding on to patterns that no longer serve you, living by conditioning that was never truly yours. You have carried old stories, attached yourself to identities that kept you small, and given away your power in ways you didn't even realize. But now you know. You know how to recognize energetic drains. You know how to set boundaries without fear or guilt. You know how to listen to the language of your body. You know how to shift your energy and step into alignment. You know how to break free from cycles that once felt unshakable. You know how to create, intentionally, consciously, powerfully. This journey has not been about becoming someone new. It has been about returning to who you already are, beneath the conditioning, beneath the patterns, beneath the fear. It has been about stepping into the energy that is rightfully yours, reclaiming it from every place you left it behind. And now the question is, what will you do with this power? Will you continue to dim yourself to make others comfortable? Will you retreat back into patterns of hesitation and self-doubt? Or will you stand fully in your energy, knowing that you are no longer available for anything less than alignment, truth, and expansion? You do not need permission to be powerful. You do not need validation to be free. You do not need certainty to move forward. All you need is the willingness to continue choosing yourself, to keep coming back to presence, to keep aligning with truth, to keep stepping into the life you are here to create. This is not the end of your transformation. It is the beginning of your return, a return to clarity, a return to alignment, a return to the authentic, fully expressed version of you that has always been waiting beneath the surface. You have reclaimed your energy. Now it is time to live in it, fully, unapologetically, powerfully.